Hey, Trinity and friends of Trinity. We love you. We miss you. We can't wait till we can gather together again. But I wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about that very thing. When can we gather together again? What is it going to look like? Well, you know that on Monday, most of you know, the Governor Baker issued an announcement as far as phase one of his COVID-19 reopening plan that houses of worship would be allowed to open their doors again up to 40% of their capacity. Now, as a church, we've been thinking through reopening for the past several weeks. We've had a team started. We've been talking through various scenarios. But on Monday, we found out alongside all of you that reopening would be allowed. And so we immediately started combing through the details of what could church look like under the current state of restrictions. And we realized, wow, church is going to look very different. Number one, in order to physically gather again, it's required that we all wear masks. Number two, it's required that we all maintain at least 6 feet of social distancing. Family units have to stay together, but maintain social distancing between others. And number three, that in order to meet to worship, we will not be allowed to hold any social gatherings before or after the service. There will not be time in the fellowship hall. There will be no kids' church. There will be no classes. We will be required to come in to the church maintaining social distancing, find seats that maintain social distancing, have the worship service, but then return to our cars in an orderly fashion. Like I said, church is going to look a little bit different. But in talking this week, we've realized, you know what? Even though it will look different, we still believe it's worth it. That we want to still meet together as well as we possibly can. As we've been saying since the beginning of this whole process, we want to gather together as soon as we can, as safe as we can. And so as a team, we started developing a plan and thinking through all the scenarios that go into actually meeting together again. Think about what teams do we have to recruit and train? What supplies do we need to make sure that we have? What supplies do we currently have? What do we need to order in order to make sure that we can properly follow the cleaning protocols? How do we be as inviting as we possibly can to guests, to kids, to families? What traffic flow are we going to create? How are we going to create these things? And of course, how are we going to maintain and continue to grow our digital presence? Our team has been doing a phenomenal job putting together digital worship services every weekend so that we can at least gather together online. We want to continue to improve that, not stop that. So what is that going to look like? And as we combed through all those details, we realized it's really important that we do this well. Not only for the safety and health of different people in our church, but it's vital that we do this well because we want to make sure that our own congregation, that we follow the guidelines set apart by the state and that we are not shut down because of failing to uphold those. So, upon looking at all of those details, together with myself, the elders, the staff, the reopening team, we've agreed upon a tentative gathering date of June 14th. At the next time we can gather together again physically is tentatively June 14th. Now we say tentatively because we want to remain flexible. I said in the last video how it's important we remain flexible because we don't know when certain restrictions might be lifted or not. But until June 14th, we will be continuing to offer online services just as we have. We'll continue to be offering the 8 a.m. Trinity Live just as we have. We'll continue to be meeting together as small groups. The good news about small groups is that no longer is it required that they just meet on Zoom. Small groups can social distance outside. Now that the weather's getting great, they're welcome to meet outside as long as they maintain social distancing. With the new restrictions that have been lifted, small groups will also be allowed to meet in the church building if they choose. Now, there will be certain parameters around that, such as having to wear masks, practice social distancing, and letting us know when they're going to be there. But if your small group would like to meet at our church building, please reach out to Pastor David, and we will do our best to make that possible for you. Small groups are a great way that we can continue to meet and connect as a church, even though it doesn't make up for the time when we're all together on Sunday morning. So with all of that, I want to encourage you guys toward a few things as we continue to take it day by day as a part of this whole pandemic season. Number one, please stay connected with Trinity, with us, not just on Facebook and YouTube, but continue to call each other, support each other. I've watched the ways you guys have been such a blessing to each other, baking for each other, writing notes, encouraging, visiting, and maintaining social distancing as you encourage each other. That makes a difference. If you would like to join a small group too, reach out to Pastor David at david@trinitynr.org, and he would love to find the right group for you to continue to meet together. Number two, continue to pray for us as we continue to pray for you. As we have to make these complicated decisions that involve so many different types of people and groups of people, we want to make the right ones. We want to be led by God's wisdom and His Spirit, not our own wisdom. And pray for other churches too, because every church is going to be different, depending on the size of the congregation, what the building is like, the resources they have. Every church is going to respond to this very differently. Continue to pray for other churches as well, because God wants to move through them, and He is moving through them, that they make the best decisions for their church. Number three, step out and serve. For all those who are used to serving on a Sunday morning, and you haven't been able to do that in a while, what would it look like to think about service differently in this season? Thinking about your neighbor, the local food pantry, the elderly person down the road who needs you to shop for them. What does that look like right now in this season? Pretty soon, we will be letting all of you know about the variety of ways that we will need help serving on Sunday morning when we gather again. So be looking out for that. Some of you have already reached out to me. Thank you. And I totally haven't forgotten about you. But we are gathering that information right now as to what teams we do need. But number four, be present today. It's so easy to think, when we get together again, it'll be great. And you know what? It will be great. It'll be fantastic. It'll be different, but it'll be great. So that day will come, but what about today? What is God up to right now? Today, how can we join Him in what He's doing around us? May we not become weary in doing good, but know that as we continue to serve Him, to love one another, that God is doing a mighty thing around us. I miss you. This will be over. We will get through this with the strength of God, His grace every day. But we'll see you soon. Love you.